What up? What up? What up? I'm sick of this. Now,
I'm sick of this.
nah, man, we're gonna talk about that, man. But before we do, Brad, first of all, brother, what we talking about today? What you got? Read a quote. Everybody, grab your books, turn to page
71.
71.
71.
Stand up on your feet and read along with us. Go ahead, B.
Okay, so before I even read this, somebody was commenting on a post that I made. Said go and listen to the Bad Podcast, and she said, "What book are you referencing, folks? You already know. Come on now, Prep,
You
Rep,
already
Repeat by
know.
yours truly. It's on Amazon. I'm selling them out of the back seat of my car. All those things, but this is Prep, Rep, Repeat. Average to Iron. So page 71. As many of us have learned, a lack of discipline opens the door to failure, resulting in yet another broken dream. In those moments of uncertainty, it's imperative that we push ourselves to take decisive action, even when every fiber of our being tells us to remain inactive. There will be days, perhaps long stretches of time, when it feels overwhelmingly difficult to muster the energy or motivation to get on your feet. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway. Let's get it, y'all.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
What it look like, what it be like, what it do. Back in here, another episode of the Bad Podcast, Brad and Dawain. And like we said when we first started, man, we're sick of this. Now, man, shout out to Miss Alicia. Messaged me. We had a hot mic at the end of the show of last week. If you don't know what we're talking about, that means you did not listen all the way to the end. Make sure you listen all the way to the end, man. We have these Easter eggs we might be dropping. You just never know, like Marvel. Like, we're gonna start putting stuff at the very end of our episodes, like Marvel, man. Like, at the ending credit. But Brad was referring to his internet that those on YouTube, you're very familiar with it. Is anytime he freezes up, it's another snowflake has hit the internet line at his house. So shout out to Miss Phillips for being a faithful listener and reaching out to me with concern. I'm leaving it just so y'all can go and listen to Brad say he's sick of it. But man, one thing we're not sick of, man, is you guys. We appreciate all the support and the love. And like Brad mentioned, people posting about it in the group, telling people about it. And like we also mentioned, pick up that Prep Rep Repeat. During the intro, I tried to run and get my copy. It was in the other room, but I didn't get there in time. So I was going to have my copy of the show, but next show I have it right here ready. But I could not be the frog if I didn't praise my own pond and my brother, man. So I wanted to do that as we kick this thing off.
I appreciate you, man. And, just talking about the people posting, I remember it was one of our last meetups. I don't know if it was Raleigh or Charleston, but I had a young woman walk up to me and just thank me, and thank us for doing this podcast. We're putting out free content every day. And she said there was an episode that saved her life, and it's hard to think that we're going that deep with some of these podcasts, but, sometimes you just need to hear it from a different light or different angle or a different voice. And when you hear something and it clicks, man, I'm getting goosebumps over here just thinking about it, because this woman, she was on the verge, of doing something and making an ultimate decision. And she heard the words out of our mouths and said, "Hey, thank you. Saved my life," and that's not the only time we've heard that, D. So I'm going to kick it off like that and just say I'm extremely grateful for this platform that you and I have created, and the opportunities that we get to keep coming back and continuing this journey. So just really thankful and, blessed to be here with you and talk about all the things that we talk about.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that we talked about, though, is, every day, every single day we wake up and that door is either open or closed as far as frustration, discouragement goes, or confidence. It's one way or another. It's like a revolving door. And a lot of times, man, we lean towards that frustration, boy, because it's not easy getting up out of bed. B, it's not easy putting our shoes on. And then C, once you finally do get to the screen or do get to the gym or do get to the treadmill or whatever it is, it's still a lot of decision making to take that first step, right? It's still a lot of decision making. And here we are in week 2 of our challenge. Is that correct?
Week 2, where we're recording on week 2. This is a drop on week 3.
Week 3. Okay, so week 3 of our challenge, and it's always, it's for me, it's always around that week 2, week 3, in the meat of it, right? Where the excitement's not there. We lose sight of what's important to us. We lose that vision a little bit. And right now, it's imperative not to panic. Are you thinking about the weeks?
Yeah, it's week 1.
Us-
My bad.
I think we're in week because we're in week
My
2.
bad. Yeah,
We will
you
be in week
saw
2.
it in my
Yeah,
face. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
This
was
is week 1. This is come out week 2. My
the
bad.
wheels
My
were
bad.
turning, man.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go
Um,
ahead.
yeah, but it's imperative that we don't panic in these circumstances, because that's what society tells us is the norm. Panic, don't explore. And I'm here to tell you, go into that exploration mode. Explore ways to find your way around those obstacles and those adversities. Find a way to get your shoes on. Find a way to make things happen.
Yeah, man. And you know what made me remember that this is week 1 is because of my post this morning. This is day 2 of our challenge. And I said that, if you're reading this message, you're already 10 steps ahead of,
Mhm,
most people in America, because
mhm.
everybody shows up that first Monday of the year. But when they wake up sore on that first Tuesday of the year, that's like the day that probably the most Ben Gay gets gets bought. The most Epsom salt.
No doubt.
Yeah, because they've done something they've never done before,
Mhm,
and then now they are, they're sore. They're pretty much almost regretting not knowing the very thing they need to do to get rid of that discomfort is continuing to work out. Man,
mhm.
that it's amazing how we're wonderfully made by the Creator, that the very thing that made you sore will also help you when help you get past the soreness.
Mhm.
You literally, to go a little biological, you create the antacid, that comes
Ooh.
in the bone, in the muscles, and that's what you're feeling, is those little, it's almost like crystals that are just rubbing against that muscle, and that's why you feel sore. And the very thing that gets rid of it is sending blood to that same area
Mhm.
and flushing that antacid out, and that's how you lose the soreness, man. So for those that didn't know that, because sometimes, Brad, we're phys ed guys, we all took that biology, that anatomy, we're
Don't say
certified.
those words around me, man.
We're certified trainers. We taking different tests. So we sometimes you take for granted. Think people think everybody knows everything that you know.
Mhm,
And not to get off on a tangent, but even when I do premium workouts, that's why I name muscle groups and
mhm,
and talk about what we're working and how different, because I can't make the assumption that this. And people tell you, they're like, I had no idea, that this was a muscle, or I could do this or do that.
mhm.
But I said all that to say, um, don't quit. This is week 2 for you. Or when you listen to this is week 2. Don't quit. Don't stop. The very thing you need to do is to keep going. And that actually adds to the momentum. Jeff talks about, pushing the car cold. That thing tough, man, when you first get behind it. See, a lot of these young kids don't know nothing about pushing the car.
I've been there a couple of times.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know nothing about pushing the car, man. But you push a car, when you first start off, it's tough, man. But when you get that thing rolling, you get
Mhm,
some momentum, it gets easier and easier. And that's same way with your fitness. This first week, this second week, it's gonna be a little tough. You're gonna, like, your feet gonna slide a little bit. You're gonna put some effort, you're not gonna see a lot of results, but you gotta keep pushing, man, and then you'll get some momentum. But I get off on that tangent, man. But I just that took me there for sure.
Yeah, no, that's important, but they call it the hair of the dog, Dawain. They call it the hair of the dog.
Okay,
In other areas of life, other facets of life, you have a late Friday night, Saturday morning, man, hair of the dog. I know that
got
all
it.
too well, unfortunately. But you're dead on there, D. And for me, I'll do a heavy leg day, which I despise doing anything with my legs because I'm a runner, man. I can't feel extremely sore when I'm going for a 20-mile run or a 15-mile
Right.
run. So I really despise lower body, but I'm trying to hit the lower body a lot this round. And that's like one of my goals because I'm not officially training for anything currently. In a few weeks, I'll be training for Cleveland, or excuse me, Cincinnati. But right now I'm hitting those legs. Um, But when I get to the gym, the first thing I do is put my shoes on. I get on that treadmill, and a lot of times I talk about this often, man. We enter the gym or we enter the fitness center or we turn on the screen and we're not on our A game, right? We're on our B game, C game, D
Mm,
game, and we're so relying on that A game that when we get started, we find ourselves frustrated and oftentimes quitting because we feel as if we have to be always on our A game. Folks, you're going to start on your B game, you're going to start on your C game, you're going to start on your D game. All you have to do is create that initial momentum like you spoke of, Dawain. And once you can get 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes under your belt on the treadmill or just moving your body, that's gonna cure that soreness or that discomfort in those legs or the upper body or whatever. But you have to put in those initial reps. And I
mhm.
always use this analogy, same concept of what you're saying, right? You're rolling a ball up a mountain, right? You're rolling a ball up a mountain, you're rolling it up the mountain, you're rolling it up the mountain. Well, what's going to happen is if you stop rolling the ball up the mountain and you move aside, where's that ball going?
Right back
That
down.
that's our momentum. Is it
Mm,
going to be easy to push it up the hill? No. And as a matter of fact, the further you get up the hill, the steeper it gets, the harder it is to obtain that thing. And I'm always talking about evolution. Your goals are always evolving because at one point your dream was to do 5 unmodified push-ups. That was our dream, to do 5 push-ups. Well, that's our warm-up now. 10 push-ups.
right.
That's our warm-up now. My dream at one point, I trained for the Buffalo Half Marathon in 2015, and I got on the treadmill. I did 5 minutes, not 5 miles, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And I looked at the thing and I was like, is this the clock's broke? Doc, the clock's broke. And I remember getting off the
Uh,
treadmill. I called my brother. I said, there's not a chance in HE double toothpicks that I will be able to get this training in. I won't be able to do it. He said, listen, all right, you got that behind you. Get on the treadmill tomorrow, go for a 5-minute walk, and then start your training. I went for 27 minutes without stopping. I haven't looked back. I've done
mm,
7 half marathons. I've done a handful of full marathons. I did an Ironman. I've done a bunch of Tough Mudders. Why? Because I gave myself that second chance. And
mm.
this is what life's all about, second chances. So take that second chance and run with it. B game or A game or whatever.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. 5 minutes. That's
5 minutes, man. Well, okay, so when I was in my early 20s, Dawain, I was a lot like you. I was more of a bodybuilding stature. I like to lift heavy weights, all those things. Imagine getting on the treadmill and going for a 5-minute run, and
oh, I
you
know.
could probably imagine that it ain't coming easy. And now,
Oh,
like,
I know.
yeah, I mean, and there's
It's
people that
just
can
it's just
relate.
hard to imagine that with Bradley, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's that's the wow factor for
Hmm.
me, just
Hmm.
like that, because and it, and it goes to show for outsiders. I mean, because I know I definitely myself, I feel like this they think it comes easy. They think
Hmm.
you were
Hmm.
born a distance runner. They think you was a born a Iron Man. They think you came, you came out, you cried a couple of times, and you did an Iron Man. That's not the case,
I
and
like
that
that.
and that's that's a perspective that a lot of people have when they look at you, when they look at me, when you look at even the people you follow on Instagram,
Hmm.
like even those models and all of that, like, it took work to get there. I saw a video this morning where, a guy was like, Instagram is just the highlights. Like, you don't see the fails. Like, you don't see how many times they didn't do that handstand push up. You
Hmm.
don't see how many times they didn't, run that mile under a certain number, whatever. You just see the highlights. They're only going to show you the best, man. So
Hmm.
don't compare where you are in your journey to what you see somewhere else, where you see somebody else at. I think you even said this one time. You're like, don't compare your day one to somebody else day, 101. Don't do that.
Hmm.
So that because that'll discourage you, because that's part of this. We talk about motivation, we talk about inspiration, but it's a mindset thing, man. And if you don't have if you're discouraged, you're more likely to throw in the towel, and a lot of times discouragement come from unreal expectation, you know. Back to your guy, the guy that I quoted about the graveyards. He said that when expectation is unknown, what do you say? Discouragement is inevitable.
Hmm.
When you don't know what to expect, or you don't know what it takes, then you automatically going to be discouraged, man, because you're looking at something that you think is far away, but all you gotta do is continue to try, man. So
Yeah.
yeah, good stuff.
I have a handful of things. My wheels are turning over here.
I
I'm
see
like
you. I
biting
see
my
you.
I'm like biting my lip. First and foremost, I did cry a couple times before I did my Ironman. The training was brutal, so I did cry a couple times before my training or before my Ironman. Second thing that I want to say is we were all born to be winners. It's ingrained in our DNA. Competitiveness is ingrained in our DNA. And if you don't believe me, try taking your daughter's hairbrush or try taking your son's toothbrush or something that's really important to them. Tell me they'll just say, okay, yeah, sure, Dad, you can take my favorite toy. No, it's in our DNA to fight for what we really want, and it's in our DNA to succeed. I have a story real quick, and then I'll go into that next point. But so the other day, my son and I were playing hockey, and I've been playing hockey for over 30 years. I said, okay, buddy, you try to score on me. And he rips a slapper right by my shoulder. He scores on me. You wouldn't believe the hype, right? But that's ingrained in us to win. That's ingrained into us to have that excitement and that enthusiasm and that hype. And when he did it, and I felt a sense of pride in him, and I was like, maybe I should retire. He's 4, but just a sense of pride. But it's winning is ingrained in us. And then the second thing that I wanted to say has to do with that quote that you read by our graveyard guy. What's his name?
Dr. Miles Monroe.
Miles Monroe. I got to write that. I'm going to type that in right now. I've been really making this a primary focal point the last handful of lives that I've done for class is going into anything that you do that has value, right? Reading, writing, tough conversations, fitness, wellness, wealth, all those things. You have to go into it with an expectation of this is not going to be easy. This is going to challenge me every step of the way. And the further I go, the stronger I get. But I have to get to that point. What happens so often is we get right to the cusp of a comeback or right to the cusp of a breakthrough. And what do? We turn around because we think that I have so far to go. Instead of dialing in, taking one more step, one more rep, getting it done. And that's where expectation comes in. If you can have an expectation of that's going to challenge me. I know it's going to challenge me. And when it does challenge you, you anticipated it. You were prepared for that challenge.
Yeah, man. I love that. And that's super important to understand that, and to know that it's going to take that work, brother, for sure. All right, man. So we creeping up pretty fast, man. This one went by fast because we were both kind of excited getting into this thing, man. Any other points you want to head towards before we get ready to land the plane?
I do want to do the do you know, and I think it is my turn anyways. And I got a slight just a hint, I guess, this morning on a Monday, but more details to follow. So no, I'm good, man. Let's land this plane, and then I'll do the do you know.
Okay, we'll both do it because I told you I had
Oh
something too.
yeah. You want yours is probably better, so you go second.
Sounds good.
Do you know?
All right, I don't know if mine's better, but go ahead, B.
So hey guys, this is for all the E2M, E2R fam out there that's been following us for a long time. You know that we travel around the country and we put on events around the country. We have 2 locations locked in for 2025, 2 primary big boys, and I'm not going to announce the locations yet publicly, but we do have those 2 locations down, and we have a really neat concept this year. I am excited. I'm amped. It'll tie in people from all over the world and to get into this concept, and I'm just really excited about it. But more details and more information to come. Dawain, back to you.
All right. Okay. That is exciting, though. I'm excited about the new year. So I have an announcement. I will not be competing in 2025. This is not pick your head up. It's not a downer.
Okay.
This is a family decision. And the purpose behind I guess the bigger picture behind is I'm gonna use 2025 to continue to grow because I've seen a lot of gains in my off season. And so yeah, I will not be competing. For those mark their calendars, I appreciate you guys. But I will be I will continue to train. I will, still under Eric's tutelage. Just not a direct athlete of his this year,
Mhm.
but I will continue to train, continue to get better. And my goal this year, now new goal, had to kind of reval, but I want to, because I think, and this is just me being real and transparent, I think I was relying on prep to get me back focus. And that's not a good why. There's a
Mhm.
lot of strain that goes into prep, there's a lot of financial strain,
Mhm.
and that's not a good enough why for me to do another show. And so instead of making prep the focus, I'm gonna make my focus the focus, like make me really zone in on my own without necessarily a show to work on. So that's the goal. Still grinding, plan to still shred down in the next couple of weeks, couple of months, but without a show. And then the new thing is, once I get there, is maintain
Mhm.
what I like. So
Yeah.
that's my announcement, man.
Hey, man. Well, first and foremost, I really admire this decision because a lot of people will do something without really having a true North Star, right? They won't have a
Yeah.
really primary purpose. They'll just do it. A lot of times people do it to appease that guy or that woman or whatever,
Right.
and we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for something else.
Yep.
And it's different for everybody. But I admire that decision because your true North Star isn't that right now and in
Yeah.
different seasons of life, right? I mean,
Yep.
no shame in that. I admire that decision. And I know you're gonna go shred nation. And I know in 2026, it's ground and pound and it's trophy time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And it really we talk about this. It goes to the why.
Hmm.
You talk about your wife calling you out when you wasn't reading. My wife called me out on my why. I was like, okay, why are we doing this? Like,
Hmm.
let's talk about it. And
Hmm.
so that conversation, exposed that
Yeah.
it wasn't strong enough, and
Mhm.
then it wasn't for the right reason. So
Mhm. Hey, man, you
yeah,
gotta have the right people in your circle, man. That's a
that's
whole nother
right.
podcast, and
That's
no, that
right.
I admire that decision. I think it's a great decision, and when the time's right and you can find that North Star, boom, it's on.
It is on, man.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Hey, man, this has been a great episode. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Make sure you post about it. Make sure you share it. All the things, man. Till next time. Brad, don't say I'm sick of this, man, because your internet's
I'm
been
sick of
cutting up today. But
this.
we ain't gonna we're gonna end it first, and then we'll get out of here, man. Y'all have a good one.